Hello everybody, it's Threxor here. Today is July 23rd, 2013, and you're watching this on YouTube. So, few quick things that I wanted to go over before we jumped right into the analysis of my games. First off, I'm not going to be putting my live streams up on YouTube. It's taking me way too much time to try and edit out the breaks and my musings and ramblings. Plus, I'm not a very skilled video editor. I never have been. I probably never will be. So we're going to go ahead and ixnay on trying to put the live streams on YouTube. I will be allowing all of my live streams to be viewed after they're done. So you can go to twitch.tv /Threxor and view those videos when they're done there. I'm going to take my YouTube videos throughout the week since I do have a full-time job. And I'm going to consolidate what I put onto YouTube down into key important concepts about what I want to talk that day. I'm going to try and keep the videos down as quick as possible so I'm not wasting too much of your time. We're getting straight to the point. I'm going to use my replays to emphasize the points that I need to make. So today we're going to be talking about timings. A lot of Bronze League players are like, how did that guy produce so many units when I'm here working on this one? Most of that comes down to just practice. Some of it's going to be a little bit of not knowing exactly how fast your opponent can, through the rules of the game, produce units through buildings and costs and stuff. So we're going to take a little bit of a look at that, but mostly we're going to focus on scout timings. One of the things that helped improve my gameplay the most over this last weekend was focusing on when do I send out my scout? When do I send out my first drone scout? When do I send my overlord in? So kind of keeping track of what race I'm playing up against, and then which matchup I need to kind of ready myself for. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into one of my games here. Bam. All right. So this first match was a ZVC match. This is me right here, as the blue Zerg in the bottom left. And over here in the red Zerg is XT Savage. This was my third placement match from this weekend. I just realized that I had played a first match, oh goodness, 11 weeks ago, that I just kind of popped on the ladder, played a placement match, got my butt kicked, and said, oh, well, I'm not going to do that for a while. It kind of like reinforced my anxiety. So my other 4 losses were from this weekend, or were late last week, and then I played my 7 actual ladder matches, which brought me from rank 100 on one of the bronze ladders up to 18. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get into this. One thing I like to do in this game is that I thought I had particularly good scout timing. I figured out exactly what they were building and what they weren't building so that I could try and counter that, or at least keep up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this. I'm going to leave it at the faster speed just so I can keep up. This is my first time actually doing a cast of one of my games and trying to record at the same time. And there's not a whole lot of time between when I'm starting this recording and the day 9 daily, so I'm trying to power through this in one take. So we're just going to kind of take it slow through the game and go with it. Thing of note, the builds that I was working on this week, or this last weekend, and I will probably be working on them again this weekend, I was going for a 14-14-21 sort of Zergling, Speedling tech type feel. So basically what that means is at 14 drones, I was building a Vespene geyser, I was building a refinery, and then the next drone that came out, I would build my spawning pool, and then the drone after that would be my scout. Well, I figured that wasn't working, so in this game I changed it up a little bit, and I sent a scout early. This game, my sole focus was, the scout needs to go out at 2 minutes. The scout needs to go out at 2 minutes. So, at 14 supply, I plopped down my my extractor, drops me down to 13 supply. I start to make my other drone, and I should be dropping a spawning pool here any second. There it is. And spawning pool. Damn. So yeah, my timings are a little bit sloppy. I'm a Bronze League player. Sue me. Okay, now at this point it is a 2 minute and 20 2-minute 21-second mark, and I'm sending out my drone. Now my opponent sent out his drone a little bit before that, so I'm a few seconds late on that. The drone's cross path here. Our overlords did cross path down here. But I basically just sent the drone in here to kind of poke my head around to see exactly what he had going on with his gas, whether or not he even had a spawning pool, and I was going to catch as I came up the hill whether or not he had a hatchery down here. Now, if you're paying close attention, if they build a hatchery right here, you can catch just the edge of it right here on the scout. So I come in here, I look over, I see, oh, hey, he's got a spawning pool and a hatchery. He's going, or a extractor. He's going for a similar build that I am. So I kept messing around with this guy in here. I saw the Zerglings pop out, and then I very dumbly ran right by them anyways. So, a bit of micro there, not my strong suit. I'm working on all aspects of my game right now. Okay, lost the scouting drone. I did not notice that these extra 2 Zerglings had been built, but I just kind of assumed that they had been. Now, one thing to note, he's just now starting his research. If we look, my speedling research is almost done, and I'm building my roach warren before he is. So I'm ahead on upgrades right now, and I'm ahead on tech. So I have my 4 Zerglings running over to his base. He's taken his natural expansion, which I have not done yet. Bad me. I have 23 22 guys, and I'm just now putting down my expansion. So I now have speedlings. I run one up into the base to kind of scout around. I see that he's got 4 Zerglings there. I move my guys just to move them. I don't produce any more Zerglings. I said to myself in this game, okay, he's got Zerglings, I'm going to go with roaches. So there's a layer tech coming out. I'm dropping another extractor at my main, just to kind of increase the amount of gas that I have coming in so that I can actually make the transition to roaches a little bit smoother. One thing that I didn't do, I'm pretty sure in this game I didn't do it. Once my lair was finished, I didn't remember to evolve the roach speed. So, still have a couple of lings outside his front, just kind of watching to see what happens. Now he runs around. I spot it with my overlord. I start producing another queen. Now I'm going to lose this queen and my expo. So bad on me for not putting in the static defense to begin with. Now I do respond by building a single spine crawler here. Now one of the things I learned from watching the Day 9 dailies is overreacting. Reacting is good, overreacting is bad. So my thought process here was I've already got roaches coming out, but those roaches are going to be my only offensive force for a while. So I decided I have the extra minerals, might as well plunk down a spine crawler. That will help protect my main a little bit from any Zergling run-bys. This time I also chose to drop 2 Evo chambers. Bad move on my part once again. I didn't have the economy to support this. You definitely need your natural up if you're going to go for double Evo play. So I moved my roaches out. I have 3 more roaches on the way. I'm rebuilding my queen. I'm about to take my natural again. I send somebody somewhere eventually. I try to take my natural again. Still have not started the speed upgrade. Still have not started the speed upgrade. So for some odd reason, this guy builds another spawning pool. I don't know why. But he's got his speed upgrade almost halfway done already. I still don't have a speed upgrade. So as it stands right now, He technically outnumbers me. He's got 10 Zerglings, 6 Roaches. I've got a total of 14 Roaches without speed, and nothing else. So, at the 9-minute mark, I decide to send my Overlord in. And see, hey, what does he have going on? I see that the Roach Warren is researching, but I don't know how far it is. I never click on it to find out. He's got a second base up and running. I still have not retaken my natural. I've got my guy just chilling there for no reason. Probably because I was focused on this battle here. So I got my Roaches outside his base. Good on me for, at least trying to keep him penned in, even though he could overrun me at any moment here. Okay, so that's the 10-minute mark. Those were kind of the key things that I wanted to take a look at. Mostly my timing is really, really horrible in this game. I didn't do very, very well at all, with the exception of that first drone scout at the 2-minute mark. I sent him a little bit late, but still early enough that he couldn't kill it. My very first placement match from this last week, I didn't send a drone till the 4-minute mark, and I was playing against Terran, and he had walled off, and he had 4 Marines that just one-shot my drone. So I was definitely better on the scout timing on this. So some things to know. Oh, let's see. We don't want to go back just that far. Where is it? Yeah, we'll start watching from the 8-minute mark. So at the 8-minute mark, usually when you're going to use an Overlord to scout, it's at the 7-minute mark. So we're going to go ahead and jump to the 7-minute mark. That's the 6-minute mark. There we go. 7-minute mark. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the game here. So this is what I see here. We've got a hatchery just now mutating into a lair. We have 2 gases, nothing happening at the spawning pool, nothing happening at the Roach Warren. We've got 4 cocoons, which I believe at this point are drones in production. So I see my opponent's droning up. If I'd run him in here, I would have seen that he had no army. This is also the time I was getting killed. But I would have seen that his entire army was at my base. I wouldn't have been able to do much with it in this position, but the information would have been helpful. So, that's all I got for this game. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of it. And going to load up the next one. Okay, so this is another ZVZ. Some of the things I wanted to note in this game. I thought I did a very decent job. Okay, so up in the top left I have Bubbly Mint. And in the bottom right is me. So for this game, one of the things that I really wanted to note, it's a longer game. I did much better in the beginning. I scouted late in this one, but he had gone for a very early expansion. So I saw that as an opportunity, used the fact that I got a spawning pool before I expanded, and kind of punished my opponent for that. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit. So there goes my Overlord. We're approaching the 2-minute mark, and at 2 minutes, my drone is gone. So what I did was I sent the drone over here first. I always send my Overlord to the furthest location that my opponent could be, and then I send my drones to the next 2 closest. I just kind of go in a circle. So I see 2 Zerglings, but I also see... let's go back. I also see the expansion. You see me actually scroll up to it and then go back to my view. So I saw the expansion. I knew I had Zerglings and speed on the way. So I don't know what that guy was doing. I know on this match I had a really hard time uh, holding my own natural expansion. So he's only built a couple of Zerglings. He spent all of his money on his hatchery. So I use my queen. I clean these up relatively easily. He's droning up. Oh no, this is an interesting move that I didn't see before. I've always just taken drones from here, from the actual mineral line, and then transferred them to the natural. He actually just queued up both of his hatcheries to go to the new mineral line. So that all the drones that he built went to his new mineral line. That's interesting. I'll have to try that, see how well it works. So at this point, I'm pushing out with a crap ton of speedlings. He's got one, maybe two on the map. Still haven't taken my expansion. That's bad on me. So I run the speedlings in. I pretty much overwhelm this queen and this expansion. He doesn't have any sort of support units. He's got some Zerglings on the way. Actually, I think he's producing 18 Zerglings. So he didn't really see me coming. I'm producing another 12 Zerglings. I still have an upgrade advantage right now because of the fact that I have speedlings. So what I do is I decide that I'm just going to harass right now. And then I proceed to lose my entire standing army. So, bad on me for that. I didn't actually have an Overlord up here to really scan for anything. So, my Overlord scouting was atrocious in this game. Still trying to get my expansion now at a supply blocked 44. Or, I'm sorry, at 28. I'm just, at this point, the game just kind of devolves into, okay, I've been out macroed, I'm going to lose. It's just a matter of time. Okay, so scout timing, really important. You can see that there are certain instances where let's go ahead and do that. You can see that there are certain instances where if you scout the right thing at the right time, you can develop an appropriate response. The two games that I did cast just now were both Zerg versus Zerg, but I have used effective timings to see a Terran expanding early, a Terran being really, really greedy, and then I just kind of roll through them with my Zerglings going to Bangs. So with that being said, we're going to talk about timings in general from all three races. Now I have bunches of notes here because I took about 2 hours to sit down and go through, and I have charts that I'm going to be typing out and putting up in the comment section, like the description, dealing about the specific timings of units and buildings, and that way when even if you're not scouting right away, you can look down at the timer and go, okay, we're at the 3-minute mark, I know he can only have any of these combinations of things. So, for example, up against Terran, they have to build a supply depot first. The supply depot takes half a minute. And you have to have the minerals before you can even build the supply depot. The refinery also takes half a minute. Game time. Now, this is using the timer that's in game. Let's see, the first barracks, 65 seconds of in-game time, so it's a little over a minute. Day9 actually put it very, very succinctly the other day. All buildings in StarCraft, all production buildings, take about a minute, rounding, because math is hard. So what you're looking at is you're looking at approximately, from the start of the game to about the 5-minute mark, you are looking at one building per minute. So at a 5-minute mark game, you're looking at your opponent only having 5 production buildings up. Now, Zerg's a bit of an exception because of the way that they produce buildings. They sacrifice their drones in order to make the buildings. The buildings are cheaper to make. They also build faster, slightly. So the Zerg, you'll see more units, less buildings. Zerg doesn't require as many buildings to have massive production. Zerg requires expansions and hatcheries. So from your Terran opponents, at most, at about the 10-minute mark, you will see a Terran and a Protoss player be committed to a build. They won't really have the option to backpedal. They won't be able to switch tech really, really fast. So you, as an opposing player, if you play Terran and Protoss, you're kind of stuck in the same boat, which is why early scouting is really, really, really important for you. With a Zerg player, early scouting is only important to see whether or not your opponent is going for army first or economy first. If they go for economy first, then you can just go ahead. You can send out the extra expansions. You can build a small army to protect your base, move them around, spread the creep. You don't have to worry too much about very, very early pressure. If they build army first, well, then you just build an army faster. And we'll talk about when a Zerg needs to build armies in a later episode. So with the Terran, once they get their barracks down, it's kind of a snowball effect. By the time they get their first barracks down and they build their first couple of Marines, they either have a second expansion or they're saying, I'm going 3 racks and I'm just going to bust down your door and end this match now. So you can judge how many barracks a Terran player has by how many units are positioned at their ramp. So if we look back at the game, I'm just going to go ahead and pop over here. It has nothing to do with this particular match, but do you see where these Zerglings are positioned? This position right here is where a 2-base Terran or a 3 racks Terran will be positioning his army. He's going to keep it very, very close to his base until he reaches a critical mass, and then he's going to move it across the map and try and destroy it. On some maps, this choke point right here, which is a flat piece of land on this particular map, is actually a ramp. So all you have to do is park a couple of Zerglings at the bottom of the ramp and then just dash them up the ramp. Just sacrifice them is what I do, because I don't have the micro to run them up and run them back and only lose 1 or 2. So I just pick one and I just run him up there and watch him die, because I can see how many units are firing down. If you haven't scouted the early expand and you are still looking at a small army, not a lot of buildings, walled off, you can safely assume that they are either teching, which means they have no standing army, or they are economy, which means they have no standing army. Very rarely have I seen Bronze League Terran just kind of hide their units in the back. I've seen them move a couple of Marines here to the corner, to the back behind their main. I'll just show you. So I've seen a couple of them move Marines like back here behind their main. They'll keep some back here just to protect their mineral line. But for the most part, a Terran player that's doing some sort of very aggressive timing push, if you will, where they're very strictly adhering to a particular timing structure, will park their units like right here outside the natural. Protoss is a different beast entirely. Protoss, its units are so interdependent on each other that constant scouting is the key to learning what kind of tech they're going for and what they're doing. So this is where as Zerg, your Overlord Scout, comes in really, really handy. You park your Overlord outside your opponent's base. At the 7-minute mark, Protoss is committed to a build. For the next 3 to 4 minutes of gameplay, Protoss is committed to whatever they've decided to go with. So as Zerg, I'm going to base most of my stuff off of what a Zerg player sees. As Zerg, you're going to want to strike in that window with an army that's designed to beat whatever they've decided to go with. So you'll see Protoss go with like 3-gate Robo. At about the 7-minute mark, they're going to have the Robo down, they'll have the support facility down, but they won't have any units built out of it, or very, very few. Which means, for Zerg, Roche Rush. The Roche Rushes, very, very effective. Against a Terran player, they can react a little bit quicker, but I've noticed with Terran on the ladder in Bronze League, from what I've seen so far, they're very, very, very scared of Zergling Bangling busts. If a Terran player is being overly aggressive, Banglings are a very, very cheap way to equalize the field very rapidly. So, for today's episode, we talked about scout timings, we talked about overlord timings. I mentioned that I'm going to put a whole bunch of timings, all in game seconds, down in the little area below here. This is for version 2.0.8, I believe, of Heart of the Swarm. If it changes, or the timings for any of these core units changes, this video will be coming down, and I'll be putting a new, better video up with all the new timings in it. So I'll discuss the same things, but I'll more specifically change the little chart that's going to be down there. And if I ever get a wild hair up my butt and I decide to re-record this video, then this one's going to come down. So scout timings, the 10-minute mark is when most bronze ladder matches are going to be determined. Are they going to be long games? Or are they going to be quick games? On the pro circuit, you'll see whether it's a long game decided within the first couple minutes based off of what each player does and how each player can defend against pressure or economy rush. In Bronze League, the reaction times are considerably slower. So the 10-minute mark is when you're going to be able to determine, is this a long-term game, or is my opponent going to come and just wreck me now? If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comments for the video. If you like the video, go ahead and like, subscribe to YouTube. You can catch me Saturdays at 1 p.m. Central on twitch.tv/Threxor, same as my YouTube channel. And I do live streaming of my ladder matches. Win or lose, I show it all. Main point of my series is to make it so that those that are nervous about playing on the ladder can experience the ladder from a point of view of somebody who's struggling and learning and trying to cope with the mechanics of the game, so that you can kind of see what exactly you're getting into. I know a lot of people are afraid of the fact that, if you go with a certain build as Zerg, every time I go Zergling Bangling, I'm always afraid that the person that I go up against is going to be really, really angry because I did a timing push or a rush. Oh, nice Bangling rush, noob. I'm very sensitive to the way people respond to how I play against them, and that's one of my own downfalls. So, like, subscribe, comment. Please be constructive. Don't berate me. I will be watching the comments and deleting them as I need to. And as of right now, I'm kind of on a business trip, so I don't have access to all of my real hardware, which is why the video quality is kind of low. But I will be in the next few months upgrading my video quality, upgrading my audio quality, and overall just making the experience better for everybody involved. So, without anything else, I'm Threxor. This is your Bronze League preview and analysis, and I hope to see you on the ladder.